one thing that really gripes me is you don't own your own shoes.
How do you mean?
I go out to put my flip-flops on and they're gone. Where's my flip-flops? Oh, Dad's just gone to the market in them. I'm like, what?
What's wrong with him? Hasn't he got his own shoes?
Yeah, what? And it's just, they're just communal. Like the flip-flops are just like anything goes. Oh, there's a pair. I'll slip them on and off I go. And I'm like, as a British person, that's just, I can't handle it. It's the equivalent of me using your toothbrush. I don't.
Maybe not quite that severe.
When you cross an ocean and immerse yourself in another culture, something extraordinary happens. Your perspective shifts, your assumptions unravel, and you begin to see your own culture through entirely new eyes. The journey often becomes a journey within. Welcome to Temporally Scripted. I'm Jack Austin alongside Adam Garcia, and today we're exploring East meets West, life lessons from the other side. How living between cultures transforms not just where you live, but who you become. As two people that live now in Vietnam, we'll unpack the cultural differences that first shock, then teach us, from contrasting value systems to divergent social norms. We're going to share our stories of karaoke at 9 a.m., rice wine at 8:30, and going to sleep drunk by 11. Adam, looking forward to this one. It's going to be a big one.
Always. I think we'll have some really fun things to discuss.
Yeah. Never have I started an episode and said, don't know if I can be asked with this one.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're out of ideas. This one's a bit shite. Just bear with us for an hour.
This is going to be the most tedious hour you've ever spent in your life.
Yeah. But this one, I think, even closer to our hearts, because quite often we talk about subjects we know some about, and we maybe have to do a bit of research to bring in our expert knowledge on top of already deep topics. Whereas today, we already know about this because we're two foreigners here, living in a very beautiful land far away from home.
Yeah, completely. And you've been here a really long time. Is it about a decade? Something like that?
Yeah, it's coming up to a decade. Yeah. So I will have been in Vietnam a decade towards the end of this year.
Wow. So I guess you must like it, because if not, you would have gone home by now.
Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting because whenever you move somewhere so far away, I think that first 3 months is the key. People usually will last about 3 months and then go home, or they'll get past that 3-month period and they'll stay for a very long time. And I think with you and I, you've been here now with a break, but you've probably been here 6 years, 7 years, maybe even more.
Oh no, a lot less than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my break was quite long.
Yes, but when you first came, it was like 7 years ago.
Oh yeah, completely.
At least. And then you didn't go back to the UK after that either, did you?
No, I lived in a couple of different parts of Spain, the Canary Islands, and then a little village.
So you 7-8 years since you last lived in the UK?
Yeah, I left in 2018. So yeah.
So we're screwed, basically. There is no going back for us. It's not possible.
Not really.
There's no way of us going back and living there. And I think you go through the first 3 months that I was going to say about living anywhere that's not your home country. You go through the initial, this is amazing. It's like the honeymoon period. And then you go through a bit of oh man, I miss all of these things about home so much. I wish I could go and buy a Greg's sausage roll or a pork pie or whatever it might be.
That was never an issue for me. But
You've not lived.
Just, I don't know.
Scotched egg.
Anything that's like low-grade meat from Greg's. I don't know. Just, I never had a craving for that again.
Are you not a fan of a Scotched egg?
No, not really. I don't really understand why people like them.
What's not to like about a scotched egg? It's an
Oh,
egg, right? And then you've got meat around the egg. Yum. And then you've got a nice breadcrumb crust around the meat.
yeah,
Yum.
maybe it's just once what I had, but it always tended to be this sort of like dry, not particularly tasty, stodgy thing.
It's just that's everything that's good about a scotched egg.
Oh, I failed the benefits. I didn't realize.
You've just listed the benefits. But yeah, and then usually once you get through that, you either decide that yes, you want to stay where you are, or no, you don't. And I did also go through a period of disliking everything about being here as well in that first year. So I think it's definitely a journey, particularly with somewhere so different. But I also think that Europe is very different to the UK as well.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about Europe as well, though. There's a place to live. You can get on the plane, and within an hour and a half or 2 hours, you can be in a completely different country. That's one of the really cool things about Europe.
Yeah, and as much as Donald Trump would say otherwise, they are all vastly different countries. It's not like you feel a real difference between France and Holland and Spain and Belgium. Let's not mention Belgium too much, but I once went to Bruges with my dad, and we went to a Thai restaurant because we were too tired of looking at horrendously ugly people.
Just had to get off the streets. I can't take this anymore.
Can't handle this anymore.
I've never been. I don't know that many people from there. But I
don't go.
realize
It's just ugly people at flea markets.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not the image that I had in my head when I thought of it. I thought it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be very cultured, amazing food. No,
Les was nice, but yeah, Belgium in general can just be avoided.
Okay, I'll write that down for future reference.
Yeah, yeah. And if you are Belgian, just unsubscribe.
Turns out 90% of the subscribers are actually Belgian.
It's a real niche we hit home with.
Yeah, these things happen. I was reading that there was a study done that said after 7 years of someone leaving their home country and living somewhere else, when they interviewed people, 65% of them report being cultural hybrids, where they feel like they no longer have the culture of home, and they also don't feel like they have the culture of their new place. It's like a mix of both, but at the same time, neither. What do you think? Are you one of those people, or?
I would say that's accurate. Yeah, that's 100% accurate. I think one of the things that comes to mind is the way you act in like a seafood restaurant or a restaurant in Vietnam, which now makes a lot more sense to me than what we do at home. So you'll know this, right? When you go to eat in a barbecue or a seafood restaurant, when you have a shell or something that needs discarding or whatever, you just put it on the floor. Right? And as someone who used to smoke, when you smoke cigarettes in a restaurant or a bar or whatever, you just put it on the floor. And that makes total sense to me now. Like when I first got here, I thought it was weird and I found it quite strange.
Okay,
but now
why does it make sense now? What sort of ding kind of moment did you have?
Yeah, so it was actually around ashtrays and pot cleaning, which is bizarre but true. So if you think about it, if you've got a pub or a restaurant, granted we don't have this problem, but in the beer gardens in summer, you've got 50 ashtrays, and all 50 of those ashtrays need emptying, and they need cleaning, and they need drying, and then they need putting back out, right? So that's labor intensive, particularly in the UK now, where it's £14 an hour to pay a pot wash, right? So you're probably spending like £28 a day cleaning ashtrays, or £14 a day cleaning ashtrays, which is like what, £140. Now, grant in a 10-day period, 100 days is like 1,400. In a year, you're almost like £5,000 on ashtray cleaning,
which
yeah?
is a lot of money.
Which is a lot, right? Now, granted, salaries are about 80 pence an hour for that kind of work in Vietnam, so it's not quite as much of a squeeze on time. But at the end of the night, all they do is pick up all the tables and chairs, sweep the floor, and it's done.
Yeah, just all done in one go, finished.
Yeah, and usually you have to sweep anyway if some people have been smoking and in the restaurant and dropping.
Can I
food.
go and grab a delivery? Can we take a time out for 10 seconds?
We
Sorry,
can,
man.
No problem. Okay, we're back. Can you remember where we were though?
No. Oh, so we just said about how it makes more sense to just have someone sweep the floor. And
Yeah.
just throw everything.
Yeah, so it feels quite strange, particularly in our culture where it's all about being polite and not rude. But if you think about it, at the end of the night, if everyone's keeping their food on the table and they're ash in the ashtrays, you still have to sweep the floor anyway.
Yeah.
So there's an environmental impact here as well. The clean water that you're using to wash the ashtrays, to do all of this stuff, the extra plate to put your shells in, all of that stuff. So that's one example of something that I think makes more sense here.
Yeah, I guess so. They do a similar thing in Spain in some places where you go in some places and you look on the floor and it's just like the shells from sunflower seeds and whatever else, and especially in like outside areas. But yeah, and we'll just do that thing. One table goes, so it's wipe the table, sweep the floor underneath it, done. Next table can come along.
So it's definitely a UK thing where we're like quite stiff about these things, and we're like, oh, I'm not going to drop anything on the floor. And I
think maybe, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's interesting. And to be honest, I remember spending quite a bit of time in southern France when I was younger, and they would be more like open about these things and sensible about, oh, we're eating these, we just put them there, so they'll get swept up. It's not a big deal. That's fine. Whereas in the UK, it's like, oh, hold on, what are you dropping them on the floor for? Kitchen bag.
Yeah. You got no respect for this place. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. The second one, which is controversial, but I've got used to it, is I prefer the traffic here to back at home.
Wow. Okay. Because to anyone who is just visiting, if they went at rush hour or a busy time of day, they would look at the traffic and say, this looks absolute chaos.
Which it is. But
it's really organized chaos once you get used to it.
Yeah, and it moves at least. Like for me, the last time I went back to the UK and getting stuck on traffic jams on the M25 or every other motorway, once it has slightly more people on it than it's been built for, which is every day, you're just stuck and you don't move at all. You're just sat waiting because it's so orderly and everything's in perfect lines. Whereas in Vietnam, it never stops. So everything's filtering and moving, and you're still getting somewhere, and it might be really slowly, but it just feels better. And there is actually some psychology behind that, in that humans, if you don't know when something's going to end, it makes you frustrated and angry and annoyed.
Oh yeah, there's something about that with like delivery services and different things like that as well. When you have no idea when it's going to come, you get one feeling. But if you know exactly, there's something about it, it just makes you feel better. Oh, I'll be here on Tuesday. It just, psychologically, it just feels better because you know what's happening.
It's the reason that instead of fixing the buses in the UK and the trains, they just put a thing on that says how many minutes away it is, which is never accurate. But you don't care if it's accurate or not. You just want to know roughly.
Yeah.
And then you only get annoyed if it gets to no minutes and it's not there. And you're like, how long is it going to be?
Yeah, and it just adds some like uncertainty. And taking it back to what you were saying with the driving as well, it gets more frustrating in the UK if you're just at a standstill, making no progress. Just the same as in life, it's better to be making like steady progress very slowly than it is just be stuck somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, when I first got here, I thought the driving was chaos, and it is. But now, very personally, I just prefer it. I prefer to be in a traffic line here that is at least moving and seeing the bikes moving and everything else moving. And actually, they recently changed the laws here to become very strict on running red lights. And that's caused some huge problems with the traffic and made it a little bit more like it is in the West, because the motorbikes can no longer drive over the pavement to get through red traffic lights, or it's no
Yeah.
longer, it's only been red for 5 seconds, so I can still go, for example.
And
But
also some of those things where, right, it's on red. Is there anything coming in any other direction? No. So I'll just go because that's the sensible thing to do in
granted,
many ways.
yeah, the truck drivers here are mental, so that doesn't help. It's like usually on meth because they get paid by the load rather than the hour, so no sleeping allowed. But yeah, I never thought that I would say that I prefer the traffic and the way that it moves here than it does at home, but I definitely do. Yeah.
Do you ever get any of those kind of final destination moments when you're on the road?
Oh, regularly. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, yesterday I was dropping my mother-in-law off at the bus station, which is about 22 kilometers from where I live now. And there was a truck in front of us in the left-hand lane. Obviously, we pass on the right-hand lane, and all its suspension on the right side was clearly broken.
Nice.
So the whole shipping container sized back of it was like at this angle. And every time it turned, it looked, and I was just like, I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going past that.
Yeah, no chance. And there's just so many random things that you see being transported as well. And sometimes things, it can just be like a load of piping or something like that, but it's so precariously balanced, or you've just got like a motorbike with a little trailer behind it and maybe just a thin sort of sheet of metal on the back. And you think if something happened and you crashed into the back, you just get cut in half by this, I don't know, bit of metal or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen guys carrying like a pane of glass in between the two of them on a motorbike.
Yeah.
So
I saw one the other day. I'd never thought about in the past how I would transport a fish tank if I had to transport a fish tank, but I wouldn't do it holding it like this with no packaging on the back of my mate's motorbike. That is just not, that wouldn't be my answer.
Of all the ways to do it, yeah, that's probably not the smartest route, I would suggest. Yeah, and I've been behind something that was so high of plastic that I thought it was a truck, and then overtaking it, and when I get in front of it, I noticed that it's actually a motorbike. I've also seen motorbikes on the back of motorbikes. That's relatively common. I'm sure you've probably seen the same. I've seen big American style fridge freezers on the back of motorbikes, and families of 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's incredible the amount of people that you can get on one motorbike if you try hard enough.
Yeah, this is it. So I think the traffic differences is quite incredible and insane. But yeah, weirdly, as I said, I like it. There's something about it that, yeah, I couldn't deal with the way it is in the UK anymore.
Yeah, I could imagine. I think staying with like the traffic thing and going slightly off it, I guess it's just for the idea of health and safety here is just so different to the UK. So like some of the things we just talked about on the roads, you see it. on building sites and things like that as well. It's also insane. I remember in your apartment in Hanoi when there was that school being built next to it. And so you could sit on the balcony, look out, and there'd just be like some dude in this building being built, maybe 4 or 5 floors up, just walking along like a little plank in between, no safety gear, could fall at any time.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
or
even
hanging off on a rope, and the rope's like slowly rubbing backwards and forwards on the concrete edge. Yeah, and that, you know, that leads me to something that is super interesting here, considering everything that goes on in the UK and all the talk that there is about equality and stuff. You notice that in Southeast Asia, building sites are a mix of men and women.
Maybe.
Yeah, you get a lot more women doing construction work in Southeast Asia than you do at home.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's close. It's the same in Thailand as well. It's like there's a lot, probably 30% of the workers on big building site projects are women.
Why do you think that is?
I guess because there's less of a capability for people on lower wages to survive on a one salary. That's probably one reason. I know that's probably the case now in the UK.
Yeah, for sure.
And on the other side of it, it must be cultural on the basis that we see construction as men's work, and the Vietnamese just don't see it that way. I don't know. It could also be linked to the war and the fact that during wartime, which wasn't that long ago, a lot of women did the kind of jobs that would traditionally be male jobs, which is the same in the UK, actually, in World War II. All of the factories and the bomb making and the weapon making and stuff was done by women at the time because the men were out fighting at war. Yeah, but I don't know. There's definitely a difference.
Yeah, and it's just seen as just work.
Yeah, because certainly you don't get many men cleaners in Vietnam, for example. If you ever get a cleaner to the house or you have an apartment where you get cleaning, I don't think I've ever seen a male cleaner.
No, I haven't.
And I don't think I've ever seen a female motorbike parker.
No, that's right, actually.
They're usually like 50, 60-year-old man
that loves to smoke cigarettes and like usually scowl at people or get angry if you try and put your bike in the wrong place or something.
Yeah, and I affectionately known as chuois.
Okay.
Because chu is that age of man in Vietnamese. And if you get like chuoi when you get out of the car trying to get his attention. The other thing that's quite funny about Vietnam is their obsession with giving you tickets for things. Like, no matter what you pay for in Vietnam, you get a piece of paper. And that everyone listening probably thinks, wait, that's just like a receipt, but it's not. What I mean is, you go to a museum and you go to the counter, and the counter's like here, and you pay for your ticket, and they give you it, and then you walk like a meter, and you give the ticket to someone else, and they take it off you. That happens, and I don't know if I don't know why. I don't understand why that.
I wonder if it's like that kind of bureaucratic kind of thinking where everything's you've got to have a piece of paper for it, or if it's more official, it's got to be stamped or whatever else. I don't know. Just make sure everything's done by the book. And it looks like it's more official, maybe, if you get a ticket or a piece of paper. Oh, I got my ticket now. Oh, give it back over here. Okay, done.
Yeah. And God forbid if you've parked a bike and you lose your ticket, and then you try and get your bike back, and the guy's like, where's the ticket? I'm like, I haven't got it, mate. But look, I'm the only 6'1" bold 90 kg guy that you've seen today. We're not in a tourist. That's my bike, right? Yeah, but no ticket, mate. Sorry. I'm like, but
but look, here's a picture of me on my bike.
yeah, no,
could be someone else.
Could be someone else. I'm not falling for that one. Hey. So yeah, that's quite a bizarre thing about living out here. And it's the same actually in bureaucratic situations. And again, see, now I've been here this long, I don't know if I prefer that to the UK. So in the UK, for example, if you apply for passport or some paperwork or whatever, you have to go through this like process of filling in 18 forms and then giving all of this extra information that they clearly already know, right? All of this stuff, right? You don't need to ask me for all of this information. I even had it here in Vietnam recently where I was applying for my new English passport and I had to provide a proof of my Vietnamese address to the British government. I'm like, why?
Why can't you just say, okay, this is my passport. Here's me. Can I just swap it, get a new one?
Yeah, and like, why? Like, I take a photo of me and I have to get someone that I've known for 5 years plus to sign the photo to say that it's me, when I know full you've got my eyeballs on file. You literally know by looking at my eyeballs who I am. So why don't you just have a machine in the office that looks at my eyes and goes, oh yeah, that's him? Or even better, just a machine in the office that takes a fucking photo of me so that you know it's me, like next to my passport with all the biometric information you already have on me. But still, you're going to make me go and get someone who's an upstanding member of the community to sign passports. I've been here for nearly... Who the am I going to send it to in the UK to sign my passport?
It's still that thing where it has to be like a magistrate or a doctor or something like that.
Now it's basically just didn't get your passport by getting on a rubber dinghy in Dover, I think, or in Calais to Dover, I think is the only rule now. Had your passport for more than a year vibe. But yeah, so in the UK, they ask you for all of this information, all of this stuff and whatever else. And it's a total nightmare. I even had to go and get color prints of this and all of this mad stuff that they don't really need because they know who I am, right? And then in Vietnam, they'll just be like, oh, you go there. They go, okay, you need this form. Like, okay, cool. So you go off, get the form, fill it in, come back. And they go, okay, cool. You also need this form. And you're like, okay, cool. All right. And it's like a treasure hunt.
You just keep getting clues.
Yeah, the next bit of information that you need to provide, and then you go away and you come back. But in some ways, that makes things more efficient because they don't have this ridiculous waiting list like we have in the UK. Like you send in a passport application, you got to wait 6 weeks. No wonder, because the fuckers have got to read 10 pages of shit and verify all this stuff. The Vietnamese just send you out with one bit of paper. You fill it in, you complete it, it's good. All right, cool, off you go, get the next one.
Yeah, and it's just like this long journey.
So you're never there for very long. It doesn't take them long to check it. It's usually a different person that checks each form, right? And you're in 2 minutes, get checked, off you go. And then you come back, do the next bit, which is probably more time consuming, but I don't know. It's just... yeah, I've definitely screwed my brain by living here so long.
Maybe it's like the driving thing where it feels like you're getting somewhere because you don't have to wait at any point. You just have to keep going to different offices or different windows in that office or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, it's different windows in the office. And even when we went to print the colour printout of my passport, they sent us to this office. It's like an 8-floor printing place. And you go in on the ground floor and first guy goes, yeah, what do you need? You tell him. He sends you to floor 3. You tell that person what you need, give him your passport. He sends you to like someone else's desk. They type in the order and press enter, send you somewhere else. And you've been to like 7 different desks before you get given your output. It's like everybody does like 1/8 of a job.
Yeah, but lots of people are employed and there's no problem. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and because the cost of living is not insane, even if you're employed and you don't get paid a great deal, it's still enough for you to go out for a meal, to have a drink, to whatever you want to do. Like, these things are still within reach here. Whereas at home, like, even if you're £14 an hour as a dish pig and a pot wash, like pot bitch, it's pot bitching. It's pretty much impossible to live because a meal is more than £14.
Yeah, so is a pack of cigarettes as well.
Right.
But yeah, it is, and it's interesting as well because at the same time, so people don't struggle as much as maybe in the UK, cost of living wise, but also, when's the last time you saw a homeless person in Vietnam or someone begging for money on the street?
Yeah, you just don't really see it.
I can count it on one hand the amount of times I've seen it.
Yeah.
And
what you do get is
unbelievably rare.
Yeah, you get people that maybe come and offer to shine your shoes or offer to sell you some fruit or whatever. You get these kind of things, people trying to sell stuff, and they are obviously day wage level people. But you're right, you don't see, if any, beggars, homeless people just sitting in shop doorways playing bongos and that.
Fucking hippies. But yeah, and because I haven't been back to the UK in a very long time, but I've seen videos on various YouTube channels where it might be in like Manchester or something like that, and then you just have a row of tents or certain parts of the city that are just known as, oh, that's a place where loads of crackheads go or homeless people or whatever else. But you just don't seem to see any of that here. And no one, and in say the UK where you have all these, like, people can get benefits and help for all kinds of different things, yet somehow are still living in a tent somewhere in the city centre or whatever. You just don't see any of that here. And people just go, okay, it's almost as if they go, okay, I can just do something. I can make some money and I can slowly make my way up if I want to. It's get some money doing one thing, buy some things, sell them on, whatever it may be. But it's like people don't give up, of more just proactive, or it's like that they go into survival mode or something like that. And I just don't see that in the UK with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's twofold though. I think it's a people thing, but it's also a regulation and a government thing. Like, obviously, if it's £14 an hour minimum wage, if you just go and buy like a multi-pack of Freddos from Tesco for like a fiver, and then you go and start trying to sell them for 50p a Freddo, which is ridiculous, but believe it or not, that is what they cost now. I think might even be more. I dread to think. I can't look. It will stress me out too much.
Jeez, not 10p anymore.
Freddo, 10p is long gone, mate. I don't even think penny sweets are a penny anymore. But yeah, those days are gone. Jeez. But someone's gonna shut you down. Someone's gonna report you to the council, and then you have to sell 28 Freddos before you've made an hour's salary.
Who the hell wants to buy that many Freddos? You know?
It's a lot to ask, isn't it? It's that's almost a Freddo every 2 minutes. You're gonna have to be going to sell that many.
I think you're right, though. It's that sort of regulation thing and things like that. Here, I don't know this place inside out, but from what I can see, it seems like the government just leaves people alone to a certain degree. It's like a couple of days ago, I was getting a taxi, and under the bridge by the side of the road, there's a guy there just cutting hair. His hairdresser just randomly set up under the bridge. And he must have been decent. There was like people waiting, all that kind of thing. You could not do that in England. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a haircut in a backstreet place once, and his clippers kept like shorting out and going. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, the ones under the bridges that you mentioned as well, they're free.
Really?
They're training to be hairdressers or barbers.
Okay.
Because I keep joking with my wife that we're going to go there and wind them up and go, can I have a haircut?
I'd like dreads.
Yeah, can I have it like this? But yeah, like you said, there's no way you would be able to get away with that. And it's the same with all the shops and stuff that pop up left, right, and center here. Yeah, so I think the opportunity to starting a business is lower, because if you want to start any kind of business in the UK, it's 10 grand.
Yeah. And for a lot of those businesses as well, you might need some kind of like health and safety checks, hygiene checks, some kind of license, depending what it is, insurance, all kinds of different things that you need to invest in, or certificate kind of thing that you need to have.
And
Here
all
it's just
kinds.
like, go.
Yeah. And not only that, Adam, there are all kinds of things that you just absolutely don't need. Like from living here, hygiene is total bollocks. It's a total waste of time, money, energy, and everything else. Like I've eaten in noodle places where the grease and the black grease on the side of the thing they're cooking it all on, and like it's just like most British people would look at it and be like, that is horrendous. But the food's good. I've never got ill. In fact, I've probably got more ill off eating Western food from places here than I have off eating the local food. And
interesting.
So to me, a lot of that health and safety stuff is just bollocks. It must just be nonsense. Like it's almost like you create the problem by being so worried about clean and tidy. No?
Yeah, maybe. It's not something I'd really thought about that much.
You see some of the states of these street food things. Like, dude.
Oh, yeah, completely. But yeah, so in the UK, it would be like, okay, the extractor fans, that's looking a bit greasy. That's minus so many points from doing the hygiene checks. What's the state of the fridge? That's not looking so good. So
yeah,
here it wouldn't really pass.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you ever go to the markets here, you see that all of the meat is just out in the air.
Yeah, that's places that I don't buy meat from.
I do
for that reason. Really?
Yeah, I do. It's fine because it's from the day. You see that it's not. It's from that morning, from that day, and yeah, I mean, it looks terrible in that sense, but it's not really that bad at all. I was just trying to find a picture to show the guys an example, but maybe I can bring it later. But yeah, even if we look at this, I don't know if like this is relatively clean.
Oh yeah, and you see those all the time.
I've seen much worse than this and eaten in them, and it's been fine. Like these kind of outfits. So it doesn't cost a lot of money to set up this kind of thing, which means that there are opportunities for people to bring themselves out of poverty, really. And to be honest, I think there's more people living in relative poverty in the UK now than there is in Vietnam.
Yeah, I read that as a statistic not long ago when I was researching another episode that we're doing, which is it's incredible in a way that's the case. So I was just going to say, it almost seems like places like the UK have all this incredible wealth and infrastructure and everything, and it's all just being like squandered and just pissed away, basically.
Yeah, and I think in some ways deliberately.
It could be. Again, it's probably time for a tinfoil hat. But no.
Tinfoil toupee.
Exactly. So I don't know what the plan is, or whether it's because there's that thing. I would just say it's something like, don't come to the conclusion that it's conspiracy before ruling out just like stupidity or something like that, or just people being bad at their jobs. Because I think it could be a mix of things. Do people want to see the UK go downhill? Maybe some people do. Are some people just highly incompetent at their jobs? There's probably a lot of that going on as well.
I think it's the whole Western world. Did you see any of the clips from them interviewing the TikTok guy in America?
No.
Mate, so one guy's, oh, if I've got my headphones in while I'm watching TikTok, can you see what I'm thinking? Genuine question from, are these senators or are they, whatever they are, representatives? That was the genuine question of one of them. Another one was like, oh, if I use TikTok in my house, does it connect to my Wi-Fi? The guy's, yeah, if you want to use the internet. Another one was like super cringe where he's, so have you ever applied to be a citizen of China? And he's, no, Senator, I'm from Singapore. He's okay. Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party? He's, no, I'm I'm Singaporean. He's, I'm from Singapore. How could I, what? Do you know what I mean? And then another one is, oh, so I've never heard of Singapore before. Is that in Western Europe or? And it's like, my God, these people are running it. It's crazy.
That's insane.
But anyway, moving away from that, some of the similarities, I wonder if Vietnam in some ways is like the UK was in the past. And one example I can give is my friend came out to live here who not that long ago, and one night he was at my house and we were walking around the corner and these guys were having karaoke. So we got invited in, they're bringing us beers, they're like, they're giving us food, and that's, you can pretty much do that anywhere. Like, I know we're foreign, right? So we get that, we're a novelty. But if you're a foreigner and you come to Vietnam, you can go to any party that's going on, literally,
yeah, just
any party, just roll up and they'll sit you down, give you some food, give you a beer. Like, I've never been rejected from anywhere. It's, yeah, come on, in you come. Hey, like encouraging you to come and sit with them. And it's funny because it's not even just Vietnamese here, because I was in North Wales walking down one of the back streets in Llandudno where my brother lives, and I saw these two guys sat on small chairs barbecuing chicken and drinking beers, and I was like, are they? So I just went, hang on, a bit of Vietnamese, hang on, and he's like, ah, and then they invited me in and we sat down and drank beers and ate chicken. Like,
wicked.
It's not even just you know what I mean? And I wonder if people used to be like that in the past.
Yeah, maybe they did. But I totally know what you mean. And people here, they have a sense of, I don't know if it's community or just like this, it's more a group kind of thinking, that everything's like really inclusive for everybody. And we're all people, we're all together kind of thing. And there's that spirit of like generosity. I don't know, it's so different to the UK.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, again, is that changing over time? Because I know where you live now is close to where I was living before. And around there, it's quite a lot more modern. The houses are people that haven't lived together forever. So, for example, in the older streets, in the older parts of town, your neighbor knows your grandma and your grandma knows their grandma. And everybody's known each other for the last 50, 100, 150 years, right? They've all been in that area. But in these new areas, it's not like that. It's just people bought some land or whatever and they went and built their house there. And I did notice living there that there is a lot less of that community Vietnamese style feeling.
Maybe, yeah.
And you've just moved from a place that is very old-fashioned and traditional, being in Soncha, to a place that's quite modern and all new houses and not so community-focused. And I wonder if you will start to notice that difference.
Yeah, maybe. There's definitely a lot less karaoke. So-
It has its bonuses.
yeah, there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably true, actually. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
To add to it, and another question that's similar is, in some ways that does have a benefit, because when you first live in Southeast Asia, you don't mind people all the time being like, oh, hello, what's your name? Like, how are you? Because you're new, right? But after living here as long as we have, you start to just want to be able to go and buy a coffee without somebody saying hello
And
or
just
getting
be
their child
anonymous.
to speak to you in English. Yeah. And it sounds bad, doesn't it? But I get to a point where I'm like, have you never seen a white person before? Just leave me alone. I don't say that, but in my head, I'm like, I'm not the first foreigner you've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? And that sounds bad, but I do. You become everybody's children's free English teacher. Like, I'll go and speak to him. He's English. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm here with my family on a Sunday. I work 6 days a week at my computer getting my business. Like, just leave me alone. Do you know what I mean?
I used to be a teacher years ago. I don't want to do this
Don't
again
do it anymore. Give me $20 and I might think about talking to him for 10. But no, genuinely. And I, obviously it's nice to be nice and I get it. But sometimes you're just like, I want to go to the shop, get my stuff, go home. I don't want people to notice me the way that they do.
Which it, yeah, it's just part of the culture. But you do get that thing sometimes where I know myself, it was like a local shop that I used to go to and go and think, oh, I just need a couple of things. But then there's like a group of Vietnamese guys sat at a table drinking beer and so, oh, do you want some rice wine or whatever else?
You're like, no, I just want to get my cornflakes or whatever it is.
Plus it's 11 a.m. I don't need any rice wine.
Yeah, I'm good for rice wine right now. Yeah. And that's it. I guess that's the feeling of being an ethnic minority.
Yeah, I guess so.
Quite often you go places and obviously Da Nang's quite built up and there are areas where you see a lot of foreigners, but there are still places where you just don't see any apart from you know?
Yeah.
So you're like a novelty and there's a uniqueness to you and that's fun for a while, but then when you live somewhere, it's like, just leave me alone. I don't want to be spoken to right now. So yeah, that's another thing that I think is like a difference in culture. But in other ways, I kind of miss being able to have those conversations with people. Like when you go into the corner shop and there's some old woman in there complaining about something, and you're like, "Oh yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know how things." Do you know what I mean? That little chit chat in a shop with some random person you've never met, and those little bits of kindness that you share.
Yeah, and it's nice as well if you go somewhere and someone goes, "Oh, how are you?" But it's not like in the traditional sort of, "Hey, how are you? All right, good, whatever." It's like someone says, "How are you?" and they actually want to know.
Yeah, and interestingly here, their version of "How are you?" is "Have you eaten?"
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
So, but again, they don't want you to go, "No, I haven't. Can I sit down?" They're like, "No, I was just asking to be nice." Oh, okay. I've got a bit of a banh mi down there that I could sort you out with. Yeah. So I think that is it. Another big cultural difference that I notice a lot, being obviously that my wife is Vietnamese and I have a Vietnamese family in-law. One thing that really gripes me is you don't own your own shoes.
How do you mean?
So quite often if brother-in-law here or mother-in-law or father-in-law, I go out to put my flip-flops on and they're gone. And I'm like, where's my flip-flops? Oh, Dad's just gone to the market in them. I'm like, what? It's like,
What's wrong with him? Hasn't he got his own shoes?
yeah, what? And it's just, they're just communal. Like the flip-flops are just
Yeah.
like anything goes. Oh, there's a pair. I'll slip them on and off I go. And I'm like, as a British person, that's just, I can't handle it. It's the equivalent of me using your toothbrush. Like, don't.
Maybe not quite that severe.
For me, it mortally offends me. I have to have a word. And even if I buy extra flip-flops, they still put on the ones that are the ones that are in play for me at that point in time.
I think you're going to have to start hanging them on the wall with a sign saying Jack's flip-flops do not touch under any circumstances.
When you said hanging on the wall with a sign, I was thinking you can't do that to your parents-in-law. That's too much. Yeah.
I just couldn't handle it anymore. Just flipped.
This is it. Yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed that another big difference is also meals. Like, you don't go to a restaurant and order, I'll have the steak and I'll have the chicken parm and I'll have the this and I'll have the that. It's like you just order lots of stuff and it goes in the middle.
Yeah, and just share it between everybody.
Which I used to hate, but now I quite like.
I think it's nice just because it's a nice sort of communal thing to do, and also as well, it makes it more interesting because you're having lots of different foods rather than just I've got my pie and mash or whatever. I don't know.
Do you think you're more open to that because you have Spanish heritage as well?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Like when you grew up, was that something that more often than not you would share?
I guess not massively, but I guess maybe when I was a kid and we'd go to Spain, it's like you'd go to auntie's house or whatever, and there's always like food on, and you're just
getting stuck in. And
yeah,
it's a bit like a picky tea, man. That's what we have in Britain instead, but ours is like crisps and terrible snacks and cold sausage rolls and cheese and pineapple on sticks, made to look like a space age hedgehog.
Oh, those like kids' birthday parties when I was a kid. You'd always have like cocktail sticks and it might have a piece of cheese and like a cherry or something like that on it, or some
bit of apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, a little bowl of peanuts, a couple of bowls of crisps, some of random stuff.
A picky tea. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I the other thing that I do miss from home is going to proper weddings.
Okay. I've been to a couple of weddings. I thought they were okay.
Yeah, but normally the weddings here, you get so trashed. They start at 8 a.m. and they expect everyone to have f***ed off home by 11. Yeah. So there you are, like 7 beers deep and a few rice wines at 11 a.m. and everyone's like, we're off home now. I'm like, what? It's like the biggest getting pissed tease ever. You're already drunk. It's like you're ready to go. It's going to be a good afternoon, day drinking today. Oh, everyone's gone home.
Yeah, they're packing up the karaoke, packing up the chairs, everything's done.
Yeah, and that's it. And by like 11:15, it's done. Everyone's at home. In fact, you're one of the stragglers. People can't wait for you to leave if you're there at 11. It's like, what's he still doing here?
It is really crazy. It's interesting, though.
Totally. Yeah. So, have we covered a good representation of East versus West, or is there something that we have not enlightened our audience on so far today?
I don't know, really. One thing I would say is, say if you if you're living here and you're gonna pay for healthcare and things like that, it's really thorough for the amount of money that you pay. I know there's like a couple of times I've been and I've gone, okay, we're going to do this and this. We'll give you a blood test, x-ray, then we'll do some ultrasounds, and we'll do, and you're like, okay, but it's all done in like the space of an hour, and then you get your results at the end, and it's cost like the equivalent of like £100 or something like that to see all these different departments and all this like analysis to be done, that's cool. Yeah, it's expensive in some ways, but compared to what that would cost in the UK, it's
Ridiculous.
yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I have to say the healthcare system here is excellent. And like you said, granted, you pay for it, but I've been to the more like local hospitals for stuff because it's some things they're better than the private hospitals because obviously the doctors are younger and fresher and whatnot, and they tend to start in those
Interesting.
kinds of places and then they move on to the paid that they're all paid, but like higher tier paid hospitals that they have here, and they were excellent as well, like really thorough, really quick. You had to wait a little bit longer, but nowhere near like the 6-7 hours you'd have to wait in A&E in the UK.
Yeah, or you're not going to the doctor and then the doctor says, okay, I'm going to need to refer you to somewhere else. I'll make you an appointment for 2 weeks time or some crazy thing
Or
like
September
that.
when it's November.
which actually happens.
Yeah, people dying
lot.
in between waiting for those appointments and stuff. Yeah, sure. Like I went on earlier this week because my wife had hurt her foot and we thought that there was probably a fracture in there. And we were in and out, x-ray, check, diagnose, medicine for about £30. And we were in there for an hour max.
Which
like
is
absolute max.
crazy. The amount that would have been probably like an all day thing, I would imagine, if you'd have gone to A&E in the UK.
Yeah, yeah, and it also applies to dentistry as well. So I've had like crowns fitted for £100 from high quality dentists, and you phone them up and book on the day. Like if I phone the dentist now at 2:10, I could be in the dentist by 4 p.m.
Yeah, I've done a similar thing in the past, just like usually the day before or something like that. So I need to make a dental appointment. When would you like to come? Can I come tomorrow? Yeah, sure. It's just amazing, man. Sometimes you're leaving there going, okay, so I've had 2 fillings. It's been like scale and polish, checkup, and that costs what? And it's like costs like 10 or 15 pounds or something ridiculous. So it's mad.
And also the pharmacies, you don't need to go through some long process to get diagnosed with anything or to get prescribed with anything. You can just rock up to the pharmacy and they'll give you antibiotics. They give you the exact amount you need instead of a whole box where you only need 6. They'll give you the exact, cut it out, cut the amount of the blister pack off, put it in your hand. But in general, the pharmacies are really good. I even had an experience once in Hanoi where I had a really bad ingrowing toenail. So I went to the pharmacy and she just got a scalpel out and cut the ingrowing toenail out, disinfected it all, wrapped it all up, and I think charged me like £4 or something.
Wow.
And off I went. Once I cut my finger open with a router blade. Long story. I was building a hydroponics kit on my balcony in Hanoi, as you do. And when I got the stitches out, it was lunchtime. There was no doctors there. The security guard took my stitches out for me.
Of course he did.
And
I've seen it done before. It's fine. Don't worry.
I was a little bit suspicious at the beginning because he seemed a bit like cagey. And then he cut it all open, pulled them all out. And then when we went to leave, I was like, oh, how much is it? He was like, 50K?
Before?
50K? We were like, yeah, cool. $2. There you go. And then I really knew that he didn't know. And then the ingrowing toenail time, it actually was when Hanoi had terrible rain. So as I was leaving and trying to get home, the road between the pharmacy and my house was flooded at about this depth. So I had a freshly cut open wound on my toe. And I was
the
like,
dirtiest water on earth.
Yeah, so I just put my foot on the handlebars and prayed to God that like the motorbike wouldn't stop with water up the exhaust pipe and stuff.
Harsh. But I know what you mean with pharmacies. There was a time I went in and had like a sort of eye infection going off. And in the pharmacy, she's like, oh, right, okay. Can I take a photo? I was like, okay. So, no, I'm going to, if I take a photo, I'll send it to the doctor and the doctor will say what the best course of treatment is. And I was like, okay. He says, okay, just wait a couple of minutes. And so, oh, yeah, the doctor says this and this. And so we need to give you these tablets, some of these, take one of these in the morning. And that should be it. Send me a picture every day because I want to make sure that it's getting better. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, every day, take a photo and send it to me. It was like, just felt like really looked after just from going to the pharmacy. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I always found it really bizarre, but really nice because it was like you actually had more care from that than you would from any doctor in the UK.
Or Donna and Boots in Blackpool.
Yeah, that's having a bad day.
Sorry, Donna. Only fans by night. Boots Pharmaceuticals by day. Yeah, no, I agree with it. I have to say, just to add as well, a final medical story. So when I got married, I was in my wife's hometown and I was drinking quite a lot of beer the night before, and I like slipped and kicked one of the steps leading up to the hotel. It was her auntie's hotel, and it sliced all the front skin off of my toe. So it was quite sore and it was bleeding a lot. And one of the aunties came up and asked me for one of my cigarettes, snapped it, stuck the 2 cigarettes unburnt onto the cut, and then bandaged over the top of it. So the cigarettes were like on top. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, but then the next day when I took it off, it had sealed itself basically.
Huh.
And I have no idea why. I don't know if it's because of the poisons and the toxins in the cigarettes that the body's like, oh shit, I need to stop.
Need to get away from this.
So you're like tricking it into like semi-healing itself quicker, but it worked. So yeah.
Mad. Just some old crazy remedy that apparently works.
Probably from shooting Americans out the sky and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that wraps us up, and that's been a journey through mine and Adam's experiences in Vietnam and compared to living in the UK. But whether or not you've personally lived abroad for years or just traveled, crossing these cultural boundaries gives us a different perspective on things. Whether it means you figure out you've got a secret talent for karaoke, you like drinking low quality home brewed alcohol at 9 o'clock in the morning at weddings, or just that you prefer traffic that kills 20,000 people a year instead of 1,000. There are a lot of things that you can learn and that shifts your perspectives by living somewhere else. Next week on Temporally Scripted, we're tackling perhaps the most contentious issue of our digital age: the future of free speech. So we're going to navigate the complex landscape of cancel culture while trying not to get cancelled, platform censorship, which explains why we only have 11 subscribers, and online discourse. And we're going to ask what responsibilities free expression looks like in a world where anyone can reach millions with a single post. So, has living abroad or deep exposure to another culture changed your perspective? What lessons have you learned from other cultural approaches to life? And have you ever drank rice wine at 9 o'clock in the morning while singing Sweet Caroline? Share your cross-cultural insights on X with us, and don't forget to check our show notes. And if you are listening and you want to get one of our tinfoil hats, you will find us on Kickstarter. Adam, until next time.
See you next time. Bye.